Good morning, everyone. Lee Henson, president and founder of Agiledad, and it's time for today's episode of the Daily Standup. So without any further ado, let's get started. Today, I wanted to talk to you about something that I've been seeing as a trend and something I've been talking a lot about in classes. And I've had a lot of organizations say, now, Lee, when we go to do Scrum or when we go to do Agile, we are struggling. And I find it hard to believe that people are still really struggling with this piece of Scrum. So I asked for a further explanation, and they usually give me an example. They say, the guide or the tool that we're using that talks about how we should do it, or according to the JIRA, right? Or whatever the case may be, it says we should be doing things this way. But in our organization, we don't do things that way, you see, because we're different. So I guess what I want to talk about first is, what does being different mean? How does being different have any impact? How is being different? I hear all the time, but we're different. We do things differently here. And what ends up happening is we instill a coach into the organization and discover that they're not that different at all, that it's just a different order that they need to do things, or maybe they have a different understanding of different pieces of their structure, or maybe they have different bits and pieces that are there and others that are missing. But it's important for them to understand, what does being different mean? And is being different a good thing? And how can we align with being different? Is there such a thing? Now, you might have heard me say 100 different times that, Agile is not spandex. It's not a one size fits all model, because some people just don't look good in spandex. I stand by that statement, right? It's just, I think too many times we try to cram everything into our Agile category. Then our next step is to create an internal Agile Center of Excellence, which isn't a bad thing, by the way. I believe that having an Agile Center of Excellence is a very positive thing. But then if on top of that, you end up creating an Agile playbook or something along those lines that dictates exactly how you're going to do certain things, and it causes for there to be less ability for people to be flexible in the way that they are working on something, you're taking away the team's opportunity. You're taking away each individual's agency, and you're taking away the team's agency to find the best ways that they can work together. Now, does that mean throw the baby out with the bathwater, there should be no structure? Absolutely not. But I think what I'm seeing too often is rigidity. And I want to talk to you, when people say, but we're different, what they're really trying to say, so for all you Agile coaches, I'm about to give you the $100 million secret. Here it is. When people say, but we're different, what they're trying to say is, but we seek flexibility. So I'm going to say that one more time. When they say, but we're different, what they're really trying to say is, we need to be flexible. We need a better way of doing things. We can't just keep going down this path of we need everything to be the same as it is now. And this ties back to a previous post I did, where people say, we want to do everything exactly the same as we did before, but we want to agilify it, or we want to sprinkle some Scrum dust on it. And we all know that that's a recipe for failure. It's a recipe for disaster. So the question then becomes, how can we understand, when we go in as an Agile coach or as an Agile trainer or a Scrum coach, how can we understand that it's okay for people to be different, because we're all at different places in our Agile journey? And how do we show people that the organization itself isn't different, but the journey is different, the path is different, and how we get from A to Z is where we need to focus our attention and what we need to figure out. And I believe that's the piece that most coaches are dropping the ball on. Systematically, we try to go in and say, here are all the things that need to happen, and it needs to be perfect. And we can't always get that perfect scenario, right? Now, one of the things, admittedly, that I've done is I've created a document called the Agile 12-step program, and it includes the first 12 steps that you can do to help you get started on your journey, to help you see what pieces might be missing. And it's not necessarily an all or nothing or must do in order kind of document. It was laid out in such a way that you could look and say, are we doing these things? And if not, why not? And it was a document that encouraged thoughtful consideration. So that way you could have a place that's a starting point. You could have a place where you could go to and you could say, hey, am I doing this? Am I not doing this? And it would give you the opportunity to really, really zoom in and hone in and focus on what you should or shouldn't be doing. So where does that leave us? It leaves us in a very special spot. One, we need to stop going in thinking that we can do all or nothing. And we need to stop going into thinking it's a must do number one, number two, number three, number four kind of scenario. Three, we need to go in with an open heart, an open mind, an open attitude, and we need to figure out how we're going to best tackle their problems based on what their objectives and needs are. And when someone says, but we're different, we need to come in without cognitive bias. We need to come in without preconceived notion. And we need to look at them and say, you're right, you are different. You're in a different place in your Agile journey. And let's talk about what the big picture Agile journey looks like. But I think it involves us identifying where they are in their journey and what the next best steps are. So I hope that kicks off your week for you very well. I hope that gives you some great information. As always, if you want to find out information about this or any other topics, we encourage you to visit agiledad.com where you can learn more. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.